Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Paraclete Press, I'm happy to introduce to you Karen Kiefer, the author of two wonderful books that we publish, Drawing God and Growing God. This morning, Karen is going to be reading to you from her latest book, her newest one, called Growing God, and you're going to love this story and the special message. She teaches at Boston College, and she loves sharing the special message of her books with children. Growing God is the story of Emma, a little girl who is finding God in a whole new way. When she returns from spending school vacation with her Nana on her farm, her Nana is such a great gardener, and she grows God. And Emma is inspired to grow God too. She learns, Emma does, about being amazing happens. Seeds sprout and grow just like we do as we learn to find God in our lives and in all that we do. Before you read the story, Karen, can I ask you a question?
Sure. I'm so happy to be here, Sharon, and hi to everyone. This is so much fun.
Yeah, it's so much fun for us. What inspired you to write Growing God?
Drawing God was written back in 2019. That's when it came out. And Emma, the main character in the book, has this contagious faith. I just love it. And I used my own daughter, Emma, for inspiration. And we went through the pandemic, and it was 3 years later, and all of a sudden I started to think, everyone's going out and they're going on walks, and people are really rediscovering the beauty of nature and all the gifts that God has given us, from butterflies to turtles to flowers. And I started to think, wonder what Emma's up to. She's 3 years older. So here she is in this book. She's 6 in Drawing God. She's 9 in Growing God. And I started to think, what is she doing and where is she? And my imagination just kind of took off. And I thought, wow, if I could just excite young children about the idea of finding God outside and in gardening and in planting seeds, and let them discover the beauty in that and the fun in that. And then also that they not only are seeds themselves, you are seeds, kids, but you're also sowers. And sowers mean that you help grow seeds and help grow God. And it's such a beautiful gift to be able to do that. And everyone can do it today, even after the story hour.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Well, uh, Karen is going to start reading from her book. Before she begins, I just want to mention, feel free to put any questions you might have in the chat box or the Q&A at the bottom of your screen, and we'll try to get to those after we hear the story.
Sure. I wanted to mention too, Sharon, that one of my dear friends, actually did the illustrations for both Drawing God and Growing God. So you can just see how talented she is. And that was fun too. A God wink that I could bring my friend into this project. And so I thank Paraclete Press for letting me do that. But let's begin. Here we are, Growing God. Look at this picture. There's Emma, 3 years older. I stayed at my favorite place on earth during school vacation, my Nana's farm. Every day, Nana and I went out to the fields to plant and to water and to pluck flowers and vegetables. Nana told me the farm is where she grows God, and that every seed holds an opportunity. I wasn't really sure what she meant, but I knew if Nana's farm could make my heart feel this happy, I wanted to grow God too. Look at Emma and Nana. Uh-oh, I think Nana had a hunch because a few days after I got home from the farm, she sent me a humongous box filled with lots of seeds and a note. My dearest Emma, God lives in these seeds. Plant them, love them, be patient, and believe. Wait until you see what happens when you care for God's creation. Love and hugs, Nana. I looked at the itty bitty seeds and I whispered, "Hello, God." Emma's so excited. Look at this fun picture. Here she is lying in the dirt. The next morning, I found the perfect spot in the yard to plant the seeds. Staring at the dirt, I imagined blossoms of peonies and pansies and sunflowers and vegetables galore. Oh, she's excited, all right. I love that my friend Kathy got that picture just right. So there's Emma. She's talking to the dirt. I dug deep and I turned the soil just like Nana does. I tucked the seeds in just so, making sure the dirt could hug them. When I finished planting the last seed, I said, "Don't forget to dance with the sun and sleep with the moon." Oh, look at her. But uh-oh. Then I heard a nagging know-it-all called Nigel yell, "Emma, are you talking to the dirt?" I said proudly, "I'm growing God." Nigel looked at me in disbelief. "You're what?" he said. Then he started to laugh. "That's right, Nigel. Just wait." Nigel walked away and shouted, "Oh, Emma, believe me, I'll wait." Oh, goodness. I'm going to see what happens here. I love this illustration too. Days passed, and I knew in my heart the seeds were calling me to care for them. I watered them, I talked to them, prayed over them, and I reminded them, "I can't wait to meet you." There's Emma. She's dreaming. The sun and the moon helped me watch over the seeds, and the rain visited on occasion. At night, I prayed, "God, please help me grow you." And during the day, I tried to practice patience, but it already had been 33 days, and the dirt was still as black as night. No sign of green, not even one tiny sprout. Meanwhile, Nigel let every kid in the neighborhood know that I was trying to grow God. They would stop and stare and snicker at me, and Nigel would chime in, "Emma, I'm waiting." Oh, you can imagine how Emma is just feeling right now, very frustrated. To be honest, I was waiting too. I wondered, is something wrong? Maybe the dirt's hugging the seeds too tightly, or maybe the seeds are too shy to poke through and just say hello. Then I reread Nana's note, reminding me to be patient and to believe. Sometimes it's really hard to be patient, isn't it? It's hard to have faith. Look at Emma. Then on one glorious morning it happened. A green sprout pushed its way through the dirt. "Hello, sweet sprout," I cheered. It stretched out like it was trying to hug me. "I see you, God. I see you, God," I cried in awe of this beautiful creation. I didn't know Nigel was standing right behind me until he growled, "Emma, that's not God. That's It's a puny sprout. I yelled back, God lives in this sprout. But Nigel was already blocking his ears. Look at him in the back. Emma's so excited. This is another beautiful picture. It's almost like Emma's looks like she's tucked inside of a seed, doesn't it, kids? As soon as the sun woke, I ran to my sprout, and my heart fell to the ground. It had already turned brown and toppled over. I wanted to wail, "No, sweet one, you can't be dead." But instead, I held my cry in with all my might because I knew I couldn't let Nigel or anyone else in the neighborhood hear me. Oh, poor Emma. Panicked, I quickly called Nana, but I could barely talk through my tears. "Emma," she said, "get some cornmeal from the kitchen and sprinkle it all over the dirt. It will absorb the excess moisture and stop your other sprouts from dying." Before she hung up, Nana reminded me, "Emma, every seed holds an opportunity. Even the seeds that don't live long have something to teach us." Hey, we'll see what happens. There's the cornmeal. Maybe you have it in your kitchen. You should ask your brothers or sisters or parents or grandparents if they have cornmeal. I sprinkled the dirt with cornmeal, but not before long when every kid in the neighborhood found out about my dead sprout. "Emma, are you sprinkling fairy dust to make the god grow?" Nigel yelped, and the neighborhood kids were laughing and pointing at me. I should have been mad, but I wasn't. I should have hollered, "God doesn't need fairy dust." But I didn't. I don't know how to explain it, but it was as if God had planted a seed deep inside of me and it was taking root. Guess what? I knew I was growing God. I love this picture too that Kathy drew. More sproutless days followed. And then on one glorious morning, there were sprouts everywhere. And I mean everywhere. Even in places that I didn't plant seeds. "I see you, God," I cheered. "I see you." Oh, she's so excited. Look at those beautiful flowers and sprouts. Amazing. In time, the sprouts grew into a spectacular, sprawling kaleidoscope of flowers and vegetables, and every kid in the neighborhood was in awe, including Nigel. He even invited his parents to stop by. So look at this illustration. Look at all the flowers. They're growing everywhere, as Emma said, even in places that she didn't plant seeds. And everyone in the neighborhood is just in awe of how Emma grew God. I wonder what happens next. Then I remembered that Nana said every seed holds an opportunity. That's when I asked Nigel if he wanted to open up a Growing God farm stand. So look at them painting the sign. They're working together. Now they're friends. Like, it's amazing what God can do. All of the flowers and the vegetables in the Growing God farm stand were free. But every kid in the neighborhood knew the Growing God seeds were priceless. The end.
Thank you so much, Karen. Such a wonderful story, and how I love how Nigel and Emma come together at the end. It's just such a great message.
Yeah, and it's so interesting, Sharon. I always tell everyone, and especially I want to mention this to the kids today, that I call myself the accidental author because I never intended to write these stories or these books. And it was really God's whisper and God kind of calling me. And I really believe that, like, when I'm writing the stories, I didn't really know where it was going. It was almost like God held the pen. And that's been a beautiful gift. And also kids, they say that maybe books can't change the world, but the kids that read them can. And I wanted these books to help you and to help kids um, grow God and draw God and see God and spread God's word. And with Drawing God, many of you might know about World Drawing God Day. And if you don't, go to the website at drawing-god.com. But with Growing God, we have a virtual farm. And if you go to growing-god.com, you can visit the farm. And it's so much fun. And the farm actually inspires kids to be sowers. And sowers means that you're sharing God, you're growing God. And so we want you to tell us, how do you do that? How do you spread God's love and God's word? How do you grow God through some of the projects that you do? And then you can send them into me, and then we put them up on the farm so that if you open up certain barn doors, you can actually read some sower projects. And again, it inspires young people just like you to do God's work and to grow God in yourself and to grow God in others and to plant seeds. And so that's been really fun, because a book is a book and something beautiful to read, but it's also inspiring, and it calls people to action. And I hope Growing God calls you to go outside and to think about what you can grow for others.
That's wonderful. We have some messages coming in. Glorious reading. I read along with my book. And someone is praying it forward, BC alumna. Thank you, Karen. That's from Denise Turner. So that's lovely.
Oh, Denise. Yeah, love it.
I wanted to, and feel free as I'm talking to Karen to bring in your questions into the chat, because I will read them. But I wanted to talk with you, Karen, about your relationship with the illustrator, Kathy DeWitt, because it's so interesting, and I think that children would love to hear about it. We had an opportunity to visit with both of you not too long ago, Kathy coming to visit from Belgium. And I was just wondering if you could share a little bit more about how that friendship started and developed into what it is.
Yes. So I've known Kathy DeWitt, the illustrator, for 15 years, and I had never met her in person until a couple of months ago. She came and she spent a week with me, and I met Kathy 15 years ago when I was working on a faith Christmas project, and somehow I saw her illustrations, and I know it was, again, a God wink. God put us together, and I had reached out to her and explained to her about the project. And she was, 15 years younger at the time, a young artist, and she was captivated by the project. And we started to work together on the Misfit Sock project, and we just became fast friends. And when it was, when it was 3 o'clock, I'm trying to think, 9 o'clock in the morning, it was like 3 o'clock here. We worked through the night, and so yeah, God brought us together, no question. And of course, when I wrote Drawing God, I asked Paraclete Press if they would consider having Kathy illustrate the books. And then, of course, when Growing God it's called a sequel, right?
Yeah.
It's part of the Drawing God series, and so it just meant so much to me that Kathy could continue her fine work in illustrating the book and illustrating Emma. So it's been so blessed, and the project itself has been really blessed.
Yes, yeah. We can see from this angle how the Holy Spirit has worked through both of you, because it's so vibrant, the whole story. And Emma is someone you feel like through your words and her illustrations. So that's awesome.
It's fun too to not only know that people are reading these books, but also being inspired to draw God and to think about how they see God and where is God in their life, and also talk about God. I would say, Sharon, this is how I see God today, and then with growing God, it's the same thing that people are planting gardens that never planted them before, or they're growing other things, so that they can grow God in themselves and be sowers, and that call to action, I just think is so important, from the shelf to the heart to the mind and the
Absolutely.
imagination.
Yeah. It's affected me. I know I've been out in the garden with some seeds that wouldn't sprout, and I thought I've got to have patience. And sure enough, they eventually did with some watering and some work. So
And maybe some cornmeal, you know.
yeah, cornmeal. I should have
You
added.
you know what too is I have a friend who's a farmer, and he had never heard of cornmeal, but it's true, and I it's a science experiment for teachers out there too, to try cornmeal and taking the moisture out of the soil, but that works too. And then I also wanted to mention to any of the people listening to this webinar, if you're interested, we have Growing God's seed packets, and then directions on how to plant the seeds. This particular seed packet is sunflower seeds. And so if you'd like to email me personally at Karen, Karen, Kiefer, Kiefer, at bc.edu, and I'll send you some seeds. And you can be a sower. And again, remember the last line of the book: everyone knew that the growing God seeds were priceless. And these are priceless, so I'm happy to send them to you.
That's wonderful. That's really wonderful. Um, it's hard to be patient and believe sometimes. How can we remember to do that and help each other, Karen, with
Yeah,
that?
no, it's so true. And you saw the frustration with Emma, and I loved that Nana could give her that message and she could hold on to that note. And sometimes maybe we need to write it down, just like be patient and believe, or just believe and have faith. And sometimes we need to be reminded. And so it's finding new ways to be reminded. I also loved in the story too, Sharon, I can say this because I know God wrote this story, but I love where her Nana says to her, remember, Emma, every seed holds an opportunity, and how that comes back. And Emma realizes the opportunity is the friendship that would form between her and Nigel. And that is certainly an opportunity, but certainly a grace-filled gift. But yeah, I think like I said, growing God is hard. It's hard work, and sometimes having faith when things aren't going your way is hard too. But we
Yeah.
have to believe.
We can encourage each other. Just wanted to let everyone know that Karen's email is in the chat if you want to send her a note, and so that she can send you a seed packet. We'd love for you to take that opportunity.
And to visit the websites again, drawing-god.com, and then also growing-god.com. You can visit the farm. And there's so many things that are happening on the Drawing God website, and it will continue to happen
Yeah,
we lead up to World Drawing God Day, and of course back to school. So many fun back to school projects. So
yeah,
and I'm
there's
here. I'm as like that's what I love. You're on the Cape and I'm in Boston. And it's just like we're right next to each other, Sharon. So I'm right with all of you. And if you want to Zoom again, or you want me to Zoom with you, I'm happy to show up on Zoom, or show up in person. I love I love what I do. And the fact that I get to meet people. And share God's love with them, and have them share God's love with others is just such a beautiful gift. And I'm very grateful for it. We all have a contagious faith, and God calls us to live it.
yeah. Thank you. Well, we're so grateful to you, Karen, for sharing that faith and sharing Emma. and these beautiful books. And Kathy, if you're tuning in from Belgium at any point, we're so grateful to you as well for those beautiful illustrations. And we thank you so much, all of you who came to join us for this story hour today. And want to remind you that you can go onto our website, www.paracletepress.com, and order Karen Kiefer's books. We recommend ordering both of them because they go together, Drawing God and Growing God. And you'll get an automatic 15% discount on them. And we hope that you will go ahead and do that. So let's all try to be seed sowers this weekend. Maybe we can offer to help in the garden and remember this wonderful story. And so thank you so much. And please join us also next Thursday, July 25th at this same time. We'll be with another Paraclete author, Laura Sassy. And so thank you. Thank you, Karen, and God bless everyone.
Yes, thank you to everyone. I appreciate you so much.
Appreciate you. Bye-bye.